During the quarantine, perhaps your social skills have become a little rusty. You haven't talked to people very often. You've been stuck inside. So we're going to brush those off. Yes, that's right. We're going to help you out with The Emotional Marine. He's the author of The Emotional Marine. He is Eric Rittmeyer. Eric joins us via Zoom. Eric, before we get started here, okay, it's St. Patty's Day. I've got a St. Patty's Day joke for you. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go.
Go at it.
How do you know if an Irishman loves your joke?
How?
He's doubling over. Doubling over. Okay. It's the best I can do.
We're telling jokes. I have a joke, too. It's okay. St. Patrick's Day. Why don't they play poker in the jungle?
Why don't they play poker in the jungle? I have no idea.
Too many cheetahs.
Okay, all righty. I guess we should get to the subject at hand. Okay, social skills. We have been unable to socialize, and folks, you need to get back. You get those skills back. So you're telling me that emotional intelligence can help us. How, Eric?
It's so critical, John. Here's the issue. We're this outrage culture, right? We're so upset about everything. We're so angry for no reason. And this was happening prior to the pandemic. So emotional intelligence is all about how we perceive, express, and respond to emotions. And not just our own, but also others. We have to realize that everything we say, everything we do has impacts on other people. So mental toughness, emotional intelligence is all about acknowledging the emotion and learning how to use it in a way to deepen our relationships.
I know you hold a lot of high value for a sense of humor. So talk to us about how we can use a sense of humor, because what we're ultimately looking for is to be liked, right?
That's absolutely right, John. This is the language. This is the universal language, right? Everybody knows how to laugh. We just forgotten how to do it. Goof off, be silly. Everybody wants to be around funny, lighthearted, just be silly about it. But we're so serious. You know, we take offense to everything. We get upset at everything. Just be silly with the person at the grocery store, the person waiting in line at the gas station. Everybody wants to laugh. Just tell funny jokes. I just gave you a funny joke, and you're giving me a funny joke, too. See, we're off to a good start.
Yeah, it's okay, good. And I call you Eric. You say using people's first names is important. Is it a sign of respect, Eric? Is that the reason you like doing that?
There's lots of reasons. Respect is a big piece of it, but it's also a matter of making somebody feel like you're paying attention to them. Our name is the most beautiful word in the language. We love hearing people say our name. The problem is so few people do it, and when we use that person's name, it makes them feel like, you know what? He's listening to me. He's really paying attention to me. Now, the problem is, I forget names very easily. Lots of people do. So I have to make up little rhymes in my head. So if I meet somebody's name's George of the jungle. So in my mind, that's how I remember. I'm not good with remembering names, but it's very powerful.
We're showing our age here. Okay, George of the jungle. I remember, okay? I was older than you, but I do remember. Okay, let's talk a little bit about other ways that we can show that we are good listeners, because I agree with you. That's a sign of respect as well. And if you want to connect with someone, listen to them. What other ways can we do that, Eric?
Yeah, listening is huge, John. Here's the thing, right? We listen with the intent to reply. We don't listen with the intent to understand. So when we give that person our undivided attention, we're telling them that everything is about you. I refer to it as giving that person the microphone. We all want to talk. We all want to feel important. We all want to feel like people are paying attention. Just give them the microphone, let them talk, and then let them follow up. Don't interrupt the person. In television, you guys have to get really good. You guys are masters at this in television, because you have to listen long enough to formulate your reply, but then you also have to listen afterwards too, to give your follow-up questions, to do whatever. People in television are really, really good at this. We have to get better at being listeners.
I think today it's more important than ever to also not be distracted because of cell phones. I think that's rule one. Put that thing away, right? When you're having a conversation with someone, that's a sign of respect and a sign of, hey, you're more important than something else, right?
Yeah, everything's about distractions, right? You use the cell phone. You know, it's always amusing to me to sit down with somebody, they take their cell phone, and let me put this on vibrate, right? And they set it down, and the whole time you're talking, they're like, it's like, okay, it's still a distraction, right? Put it away, be done with it. Everything's about distractions. But when you take the phone especially and stuff it away, that tells the person, you know what? Geez, John's attached to a cell phone. He's putting it away for me. I must be pretty important here. So get rid of all that stuff. Give the person undivided 100% attention.
You were also saying in your book, you talk about increasing your emotional vocabulary. So when you say emotional vocabulary, are there key words that we should remember to use during conversation?
Not that it's keywords, John. It's just realizing that these feelings we have, 100% of what we feel is okay. It's how we respond to those feelings. When we expand our emotional vocabulary, we're better able to digest things that happen to us. We're better able to articulate how we feel. Instead of saying, I'm mad, I'm angry, we can use other terms. We can say, you know what, I'm upset because, or this really frustrates me. Certain little things like that. There's not particular words that you use. It's just getting grasp of everyone is an emotional creature. We all are. We're all hardwired to feel first and think later. And another important piece of this too, an old quote, you might be able to remember this. I'm a little bit older than you, John. You might remember this one. People will forget the things you say. They'll forget the things you do, but they'll never forget the way you make them feel. That's an important part of emotional intelligence.
I agree. That's interesting, because you find the people that leave the biggest impact on you are people that made you feel good, and you're giving some keys there. Eric, I would think that the use of emotional intelligence can be strategic. I would think that you'd be a great speaker to have in front of people that are into sales, because obviously the goal is for them to like you, then they tend to do business with you. So do you do that? And what kind of advice, just a little bit of advice, that you give folks who are in sales?
I sure do, John. Thank you. I have a program I call it Psychological Performance Training, Mental Toughness Boot Camp, where I train sales teams. My advice to them is to lose the approval addiction. That's the biggest thing I deal with, especially with salespeople. We're addicted to the approval of other people. We're afraid of rejection. Get over the approval addiction. Just realize, hey, you know what? I want people to like me, but ultimately we can't process everything emotionally. If somebody gives us criticism, or somebody says something about us, or somebody tells us no in the world of sales, we can't process it emotionally. We have to process that logically and say, you know what? It's not me. I'm doing what I always do. I'm a likable person, and by golly, I'm good looking. So get off the emotion, get to the logic. It's going to, especially in sales, that's a big part of the most successful people I train.
Yeah, you are a good-looking man, Eric. I'm going to agree with that one. I hate the use of opening lines, but for those folks who are out there who are single and they want to meet someone special, what's the best way to approach someone? And I'm not talking about just a man approaching a female, but perhaps a female approaching a man as well. What's a good way to meet someone?
You know, the very best, easiest, simplest advice, John, is the smile. And I know that sounds so crazy and so silly, but a smile, again, is universal language. Like laughter is universal language. A smile is a universal feature that we all can do. It's the simplest, quickest, easiest way to approach somebody. Say, you know what? I'm here, I'm kind, I'm nice, I want to learn about you. Smile and make eye contact. It's the simplest things to do.
I can tell, Eric, that you're very good on a podium. So for folks who would like to hire you for speaking, or maybe they want to buy your book, tell us where they should go.
You're the man, John. Thank you. My website's best. It's mentaltoughness.speaker.com. My book can be found on Amazon or directly on my book website, which is emotionalmarine.com, all over Facebook, Instagram, all over social media. Thank you so much for that, John. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Eric. And you are handsome, especially on St. Patty's Day. You look fantastic.
I'm wearing a tie next time, John. I swear I am. You look sharp.
Please don't. Please don't. Thank you, Eric. Okay, coming up here, we're going to talk about a new way of banking. It's a new financial